Hi all, I'm going to show you how to calibrate a SC1300-BL Brushless ESC without a controller. So currently the datasheet recommends that you do this with your controller, but if you don't have the physical controller, you can do it using a servo controller. So in this case, I have a Pololu servo controller, which I can send a high and low signal to. And this will simulate me pushing the actual trigger, holding in neutral, or holding in reverse. So with this, I'll show you how to calibrate this ESC and also program the ESC. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to throttle your trigger position to maximum. So in this case, I'll do this. The next, I'm going to want to plug in my ESC into the Pololu servo controller and then also the battery. You'll hear a little jingle when it turns on. Hopefully you could hear that, but it played a little noise. Once I have this plugged in, I'm going to immediately set this to neutral. And you'll hear this little beep. And now I'm going to want to set this to the brake position. And it did the little jingle again. Now I want to set this to the neutral position. So I'm just following through this. Now you'll hear these little tones. You heard two little tones there. I actually want this setting because I'm using that type of battery. I set it to throttle and then set to neutral. Currently, I want this setting also. I'm going to send this to throttle and then to neutral. You'll hear that these three chimes and then a dashed one. I don't want this setting, so I'm going to wait a little longer. I don't want that setting either. Play the chime for that one. I want this one, so I'm going to set the throttle to full, and then I'm going to set it to neutral again. So that was this first one. I also don't want this setting. So I'm going to want this setting, so I'm going to set this to full, set it to neutral. And now that I've gone through and selected all the settings I want, I'm going to unplug my ESC. And the next time I turn it on now, so I'm going to plug it back in, I should have these settings programmed. I'm just going to wait a second so that I don't enter the programming mode again. Now that I've waited a second, we can tell when I move this, you'll hear the motor move. So it's going in the forward position. You can't see that right now. But in this case, for this ESC, you have to actually go to neutral, full reverse, neutral, and then you can start reversing. So now the motor is moving in reverse. You can't see this, but you can hear it. So that's how to program or calibrate and program this specific ESC.